Your Weekend Guide to What's Driving Brussels and Europe by Ryan Heath with Harry Cooper and Quentin ARIÈS chasing Carles Puigdemont. While European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker is presenting a report Monday titled Reaching Out to EU Citizens a New Opportunity, Playbook thought that was an old opportunity originating in ancient Greece before heading to Spain to collect his second honorary doctorate from the Iberian Peninsula in 10 days. He and his team are intent on ignoring the main problem facing Europe and its citizens: what to do about Catalonia and its fugitive ex-leaders. The Commission and its spokespeople keep insisting it's an internal Spanish issue, or a police matter, or a court problem, never their problem. We're told not to annoy them with questions about the fundamental rights of Catalans, notably EU rights, not Spanish rights, or the fact that Carles Puigdemont is hiding in Belgium, which world maps reliably inform us isn't in Spain. With a Spanish court issuing an international arrest warrant for Puigdemont, non-European media are starting to doubt the EU's line. All of that may, of course, help Puigdemont's cause, allowing him to assume full fugitive martyr mode. What the EU and Madrid prefer to ignore, a Belgian court may soon force into the open. The European Arrest Warrant system, introduced in 2004, made extradition between European Union countries quicker, but not automatic. The applicable Belgian law gives Belgian courts several reasons to reject the Spanish warrant, including if executing it would violate the fundamental rights of the suspect. Philippe Van Linthout, a Belgian investigative judge, told Politico, even if Belgium grants the arrest warrant, appeals may still be ongoing when Catalonia votes in a fresh election on December 21. The Great Harassment Denial. Why is it that only the UK, France, Sweden, Estonia and Brussels have had a substantial public debate about the prevalence of sexual harassment and assault in their domestic environments? Perhaps the stories are buried among the more than 20 official EU languages. Playbook doesn't speak. Please share them if we've missed any. Italy has debated the issue somewhat, but largely to shame the Italian actresses who were among those naming Harvey Weinstein as a predator. After reading the stories of 158 people who told Playbook in a confidential survey they were victims of harassment or assault, it is clear to Playbook that harassment is not genetic or geographic. We fielded complaints directed at people from 7 EU countries, and allegedly perpetrated by both men and women, against both women and men, albeit with men the main aggressors. It's happening in your town and possibly in the place you work. The near silence in more than 20 EU countries is deafening. MEPs barred from entering Western Sahara. A group of 5 members of the European Parliament was stopped from getting off a plane in Laayoune, Western Sahara by Moroccan security officials on October 27. Western Sahara is a disputed territory in West Africa occupied by Morocco. The MEPs belong to a cross-party group focused on Western Sahara, and Chair Jytte Guteland, a Swedish Social Democrat MEP, told Playbook the delegation wanted to visit the region to meet with civil society groups. The European Court of Justice ruled that a planned EU-Morocco trade deal couldn't apply to Western Sahara without the consent of its people. We didn't plan demonstrations, we're MEPs, Guteland said. We were going there to get information very calmly and peacefully. Mohamed Sidati, the EU representative of the Polisario Front, the Sahrawi People's U.N.recognized leadership, called on EU institutions to condemn the MEP's treatment. The Moroccan EU embassy didn't respond to Playbook's request for comment. Trudeau's wipes left on Austria's Sebastian Kurz. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, after riffing about the problems with US President Donald Trump's immigration policy, said of likely Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz, "I disagree with him even more than I think I disagree with President Trump." Austrian tabloid Krona has more, at Justin Trudeau on Austria's new and young leader. "I disagree with him even more than I think I disagree with President Trump." pic.twitter.com/40HVRG3ZP, CBC Politics at CBC Politics, November 2, 2017. A message from Iberdrola. At Iberdrola, climate action is a key component of our business strategy. Through our commitment to reduce carbon emissions by 50% in 2030 versus 2007, we help implement the Paris Agreement. Read more about our actions and those of European Roundtable of Industrialists members. Active for Climate COP23. Who's up? Soraya Sáenz de Santamaría, the Spanish deputy prime minister, now runs Catalonia after the Madrid government seized control of the region. Martin Selmayr, Juncker's chief of staff, is becoming a household name in Britain. He's now the subject of his own BBC profile. And who's down? Carles Puigdemont, the former Catalan president, was barred from any regional executive role after Spain took over the Catalan administration. Paul Manafort, Donald Trump's former campaign manager, was ordered to surrender to federal authorities, in the first charges filed in a special counsel investigation. Latest EU Confidential podcast. This week's episode features Ralph Walter, a historian who has worked across the Belgian and EU political landscapes, from advisor, to journalist, to get out the vote advocate, to author of a new book on the birth of the EU. Listen immediately. Download to listen offline via Apple Podcasts. Walter discusses the dangers of absolute identity, how national politicians can use Brussels to solve domestic problems, and why France wanted a nuclear bomb before it would sign the 1957 Treaty of Rome. The naughty PROEU professor under attack. EU founding father Jean Monnet once said premature ideas do not exist, one must bide one's time until the right moment comes along. Unfortunately for today's UK university professors, it's not the right time to criticise Brexit, apparently. The Daily Mail went after Professor Laurent Peck of Middlesex University London for accusing the Leave campaign of dishonesty on an industrial scale. Quote of the week: the voice of the people is not always right, but the voice of the people has the right to be heard. And that's what Bild does. Tanit Koch, editor-in-chief of Europe's biggest circulation newspaper, Bild. Feud of the week: Poland versus French courts. Poland will try to save from censorship a French sculpture of Pope John Paul II, the popular former pope from Poland, that includes a large cross. A French court ordered the cross be removed from the monument in Ploermel, northwestern France, because it violated the French constitutional principle of separating church and state. Polish Prime Minister Beata Szydło is leading appeals to French authorities to have the statue moved to Poland. Brits still top of the pops. Brexit is approaching, but that hasn't stopped the European Commission from naming two Brits as cheerleaders for the European Vocational Skills Week, which will be held November 2024. Simon Bartley, president of the World Skills Organization, and Kashif Taj, apprenticeships leader at IBM UK, are the lucky ambassadors. They will work alongside Austrian chocolatier and celebrity chef Evelyn Wild. Gerard Mestrallet, chairman of the board of French energy giant Engie and Adecco Group, Stefan Hoeg, who started his career with a 4-year apprenticeship in mechanics. Beware the army of the dead. Joseph Schager is a European People's Party MEP worth watching. The Hungarian stands out not only for his lack of work on European legislation. He's asked only 2 questions, signed on to only 2 resolutions, issued only 2 opinions, and delivered only 2 speeches in the last 2 years, but also for his domestic connections and political activism. A leading figure in Fidesz, the party of Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Schager is proud of his role in writing Hungary's new constitution. He is married to Tund Hando, who is close to Orban's wife, Aniko Vai. During a town hall meeting on the alleged Soros plan on immigration, Playbook source says Schager claimed that an army of the dead was coming to take over Europe, in an apparent reference to TV show Game of Thrones. That's certainly one way to welcome migrants. Around the world, and 80 MEPs, members of the European Parliament, are very studious, and always take the chance to study in other parts of the world. This week's study tours take them to Bulgaria, Portugal, Finland, Ukraine, Australia, New Zealand, Guadeloupe, Japan and the US, both San Francisco and Washington, D.C. Phrase of the week: collective harassment. That's the term MEP Elizabeth Morin-Chartier's harassment committee uses to describe allegations against MEPs accused of harassing multiple staffers, according to a confidential report her committee prepared for European Parliament President Antonio Tajani. Street harassment. It's another one of those ever-present but hard to report issues, because it's so diffuse. Louise Day, a consultant in Brussels, did her bit to put the problem on the record. Great to see Metu is working, she wrote sarcastically on her Facebook page. On my morning commute I got called a whore for trying to get off the metro before letting him barge on, and then a builder made kissy noises at me at Tron Metro. Apologies once again for occupying the male space. By the numbers: 3 number of MEPs alleged to have committed collective harassment, according to a confidential Parliament report seen by Playbook. 17 number of months it took Parliament's harassment committee to determine one MEP was not guilty of charges brought against them. 38 number of behaviors that can indicate harassment, according to the committee. 1,506 number of pages of evidence, including pictures, WhatsApp, Viber and Facebook messages considered by the committee. Gaps laugh say Royal Mess. Heathrow Airport is investigating after the Queen's security details, including her route to the airport, were found on a USB drive discovered lying in street, The Telegraph reported. Comic relief Nemo, the young dog adopted this year by Francis Emmanuel Macron, was caught on a TF1 TV camera relieving himself on a gilded fireplace in the Élysée Palace while a group of junior ministers met with the president in the background. Volkswagen CEO says his raison d'etre is social responsibility. Matthias Müller suggested that rival Tesla fires people for little or no reason, and claimed Volkswagen does much better. This is the same Volkswagen caught red-handed cheating on emissions standards, lying to customers, and due to pay tens of billions in compensation. A number of analysts blamed its cutthroat management culture. A message from Iberdrola: the fight against global warming is a common task that must involve all sectors of economy. Electricity, as a rapid and cost-effective way to decarbonize the economy, will play a key role as we shift to a new model of energy generation. Iberdrola has earned the license to lead the debate as the group with the most developed renewable strategy of any major Western utility. The Clean Energy for All Europeans package could set a new milestone in shaping the future of energy, a future based on clean, secure and affordable energy. The long-term energy solutions already exist: onshore and offshore wind, solar and hydro, smart grids and innovative storage solutions. These need to be encouraged to decarbonize energy production in Europe and worldwide. With 28,270 megawatts of total installed renewable energy capacity, Iberdrola has Europe's and the world's largest renewable asset base and is Europe's #1 wind energy producer. Learn more about the future of energy here. Top Politica reads: Theresa May misses her opportunity. Again, Tom McTeague, John Boehner unchained Tim Alberta Puigdemont's Catalan circus comes to Brussels. Ryan Heath: European Parliament struggles to handle harassment cases. Ryan Heath and Maya de la Bombe. Top Weekend reads from elsewhere: What do you do when racists try to hijack your religion? The Atlantic: That emoji burger is high emphatic. Wall Street Journal: Skills-based volunteering can make you thrive in the age of robots. Matteo Moscow view in your browser. Subscribe to the Politico newsletter family. Morgan Europe at Brussels Playbook London Playbook Sunday Crunch Brussels Influence DC Playbook All our Politico Pro Policy morning newsletters.